Welcome to my Channel Deep Sleep Mission-DSM. As we begin, I would be delighted if you could share your location in the comments below. It's truly inspiring to witness how far this content travels and to connect with viewers from across the world. They found her phone still streaming, face down in the carpet, the chat going wild with messages she'd never read. 20,000 viewers watched Madison Clark disappear, and I was one of them. But here's what the news won't tell you, what the police reports left out. I know what really happened that night, because 3 days before she vanished, Madison sent me something that changed everything. My name is Jamie, and if you're listening to this, you need to hear the whole truth. All right, the story is about to begin. Get comfortable, but maybe keep a light on. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who watched influencer live streams. You know the type. Sitting in chat, spamming heart emojis, buying overpriced merch. That wasn't me. I was 26, worked IT support at a tech startup in Austin, spent my evenings playing guitar or reading. But Madison Clark, she was different. Maybe it was because we went to the same college. UT Austin, class of 2020. We'd never met. She was social media marketing. I was computer science, different worlds. But when her videos started popping up on my feed last year, something about her felt familiar, real. Madison wasn't like other influencers. No perfectly curated apartment tours. No sponsored smoothie bowls. She did these late-night streams she called midnight confessions. Just her, talking to the camera like it was her best friend. She'd share ghost stories from her childhood in small-town Texas, weird dreams she'd had, theories about parallel universes, the kind of stuff you'd talk about at 3 a.m. in a dorm room, when the world felt soft and strange. I started watching regularly, Tuesday and Thursday nights, 11 p.m. sharp. The notification would pop up, Madison Live is going live, and I'd grab my laptop, settle into bed, let her voice fill my tiny apartment. It was comforting, like having a friend over, without the awkwardness of actual human interaction. The night everything changed was October 15th, a Tuesday. I remember because I'd had a brutal day at work, server crash, angry clients, the works. I was exhausted, almost skipped the stream. But habit won out. 11 p.m., notification popped up. I clicked. Madison looked different that night. Usually she streamed from her bedroom. Fairy lights in the background. That tapestry with the moon phases everyone our age seemed to own. But tonight, she was somewhere else. The lighting was harsh, fluorescent. White walls, no decorations. Hey, night owls. Her voice was softer than usual, tired. I know this looks different. I'm not at home right now. I'm somewhere safe, though, don't worry. The chat immediately lit up. Where are you? What happened? Are you okay? She forced a smile. I'm fine, really. Just needed a change of scenery. You ever feel like your own space doesn't feel like yours anymore? My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I wanted to type something, but what? Instead, I just watched as she tucked a strand of dark hair behind her ear. She was wearing an oversized hoodie I'd never seen before, navy blue, no logos. So, she continued, I was thinking we could do something different tonight. Instead of ghost stories, I want to talk about something that's been happening to me. Something real. She leaned closer to the camera, her eyes, usually bright and animated, looked hollow, dark circles underneath. When was the last time she'd slept? It started 3 weeks ago, she said. I was doing a regular stream. You guys remember. The one where I tried to make that viral pasta recipe and nearly burned my kitchen down? The chat filled with laughing emojis. I remembered. She'd forgotten the pot on the stove while reading donations. The smoke alarm had gone off. She'd laughed it off, turned it into content. Well, after I ended the stream that night, I noticed something, my viewer count. It said I still had one viewer, even though I'd definitely hit end stream. I figured it was just a glitch. YouTube's always glitching, right? She paused, took a sip from a water bottle. But then it happened the next stream, and the next. Always one viewer, lingering after I ended. I tried everything, refreshing, logging out and back in, even called YouTube support. They said there was no issue on their end. The chat was moving fast now. That's creepy. Maybe a bot? Check your analytics. Madison nodded like she could hear our thoughts. I know what you're thinking. Bot, glitch, whatever. That's what I thought too. Until... She stopped, looked over her shoulder at something off camera. The motion was quick, nervous, until I started getting the emails. My apartment suddenly felt colder. I pulled my blanket up higher, kept my eyes on the screen. Madison was scrolling through her phone now. The first one came from a Gmail address that was just numbers, random numbers. The subject line said, "I'm still watching." That's it. No body text, no signature, just that subject line. She held her phone up to the camera. I couldn't make out the details, but I could see her inbox. Dozens of emails, all from different addresses, all with subject lines visible. I see you. You look tired today. Nice pajamas. Your coffee's getting cold. My stomach dropped. Those weren't just creepy, they were specific. Details someone would only know if they were watching me. Madison's voice cracked. Not just my streams, me in my apartment when I wasn't streaming. The chat exploded. "Call the police. This is stalking. Madison, stay safe." She set her phone down, ran both hands through her hair. I did go to the police. They took a report, told me to be careful. Changed my locks. I did all that. I even stayed with my friend Sarah for a few days. But the emails, they kept coming. And they got more detailed. Yesterday, she whispered. Yesterday, I got one that said, "Stop hiding at Sarah's. Her couch isn't comfortable anyway." The fluorescent light above her flickered. She flinched. "So, that's why I'm here. I can't tell you where exactly, but it's safe. Security, multiple exits, and I needed to talk to someone. To all of you, because you guys, you're the only ones who really know me, and I'm scared." I finally typed in chat. "Have you noticed anyone following you IRL?" She must have seen it because she nodded. "That's the thing. No. I've been paranoid, looking over my shoulder constantly, but I never see anyone. It's like they're..." The screen glitched, pixelated for just a second. When it cleared, Madison was frozen. Not buffering frozen, but completely still, eyes wide, staring at something behind her camera. "Madison," I said out loud, even though she couldn't hear me. She slowly raised one finger to her lips. "Shh." The chat was going insane. "What's happening? Is someone there? Call 911. Madison reached for her phone. Slow, careful, like she was trying not to make sudden movements. She typed something, held it up to the camera. "Someone's here." The next 30 seconds felt like 30 minutes. Madison sat perfectly still, eyes locked on whatever she saw behind the camera. The chat scrolled so fast I couldn't read individual messages, just a blur of panic and caps lock. Then she relaxed, shoulders dropping, a shaky laugh escaping her lips. Sorry guys, just security doing rounds. This place has me jumpy." But something was off. Her laugh was too high, too forced, and her eyes kept darting to that spot behind the camera. "You know what?" she said, standing up quickly. "I think that's enough for tonight. I'm exhausted and clearly seeing shadows. Thank you for listening, for being here. I'll update you Thursday. Okay? No, don't end stream. Stay safe, Madison." The chat begged her to stay on, to call someone, to not be alone. "I'm fine," she insisted. But her hand shook as she reached for the camera. "I promise, I'll see you Thurs. The stream cut off. Not the normal end screen. No, thanks for watching. Just black. I sat in my dark apartment, staring at the blank screen. Refreshed the page. Nothing. Checked her other socials. Her last Instagram post was from 3 days ago. A selfie with her coffee. Caption, caffeine and courage for another week. Something was wrong, really wrong. I barely slept that night. Kept checking her page, waiting for an update, a tweet, an Instagram story, anything. But Madison Clark had gone silent. Wednesday crawled by. I checked my phone constantly at work, earning annoyed looks from my supervisor. By evening, #Where's Madison was trending on Twitter. Other viewers from Tuesday's stream were sharing clips, theories, concerns. Someone had screen recorded the whole thing, including that terrifying moment when she froze. I watched it over and over, zoomed in on her eyes, trying to see what had scared her. In the reflection of her pupils, was that movement or just pixelation from the video compression? Then I remembered something. That chat message I'd sent, she'd seen it, which meant she'd seen my username, JamieR_ATX, Austin in the username. She'd know I was local. Maybe. I did something I'd never done before. I sent her a DM on Instagram. Hey Madison, this is Jamie from your streams. I'm in Austin too. Actually went to UT same time as you. I'm really worried. Are you okay? If you need help, I'm here. I stared at the message after sending it. Felt creepy, parasocial, but the sent receipt showed she hadn't read it. Her last seen was Tuesday night, right before the stream. Thursday came, 11 p.m. I had her YouTube page open, refreshing constantly, 11:05, nothing, 11:10, still nothing. The comment section was filling up with worried fans. At 11:23, she went live. My heart jumped. I clicked immediately. But something was wrong. The stream was just her empty bedroom. Fairy lights on. That moon phase tapestry, but no Madison. The camera was positioned exactly where it always was, pointing at her usual spot on the bed. The title of the stream, Come Find Me, chat exploded. Where is she? Is this a prank? This isn't funny, Madison. We watched that empty room for 5 minutes, 10, 15. Nothing moved. No sound except for the faint hum of her laptop fan. Then, at exactly 11:38, we heard it. A door opening, off camera. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. A shadow passed across the wall. Too tall to be Madison. Too broad. The footsteps stopped. Right outside the camera's view. We could hear breathing, heavy, ragged. Then a hand reached into frame. Pale. Wearing a navy blue hoodie, it picked up something from the bed, Madison's phone. The same one she'd shown us Tuesday night. The hand retreated. More footsteps, the door closing. And then, nothing. Just that empty room. Those fairy lights twinkling like nothing had happened. I called 911. I wasn't the only one. The Austin Police Department later said they received over 300 calls about Madison Clark that night. But here's the thing. Nobody knew where she actually lived. She'd never shown the outside of her building. Never mentioned her neighborhood. For safety reasons, she'd said. The stream continued for another hour before YouTube automatically cut it off. 1 hour of that empty room. But if you watched carefully, if you really paid attention, you could see something the police reports missed. At minute 47, the moon phase tapestry moved just slightly, like someone had brushed against it from behind. And in the fairy lights, in their reflection on the window, you could see a shape, standing perfectly still, watching. I screen recorded everything, downloaded it before YouTube could take it down, because even then, even in my panic, I knew something. This wasn't random, this wasn't some deranged fan, this was planned, calculated. And it wasn't over. The next morning, October 20th, my Instagram DM showed as read. I stared at that read receipt like it might disappear. 3:47 a.m., she'd seen my message. My hands shook as I typed. "Madison, are you okay? Please respond." The typing indicator appeared immediately, those 3 dots pulsing. I held my breath. Then, nothing. The dots vanished. No message came through. I tried again. I saw the stream. I called the police. "If you're in trouble, send me anything, a period, an emoji, anything." Read at 3:52 a.m. No response. By Friday afternoon, Madison Clark was officially a missing person. Her face was all over local news. Popular Austin influencer vanishes after disturbing livestream. They showed clips from her old videos. That bright smile, those animated gestures. It felt wrong seeing her like that, knowing what I'd witnessed. The police held a press conference. Detective Sarah Martinez, stern-faced, professional, told reporters they were investigating all leads. They'd found Madison's apartment, the one from the stream. The door had been unlocked, her phone was missing. No signs of struggle. "We're asking anyone with information to come forward," Detective Martinez said. "Miss Clark has a distinctive tattoo on her left wrist. A crescent moon, if you see her." I stopped listening. That tattoo. I'd seen it dozens of times on stream. She'd gotten it junior year. Said it reminded her that even in darkness, there was still light. My phone buzzed. Another Instagram notification. My heart raced, but it was just a spam follow request. I was about to close the app when I noticed something. Madison's profile picture had changed. It was black. Just solid black. I clicked on her profile. Everything else was the same. Her bio, her follower count. But that profile picture, when had it changed? I scrolled through my notifications. Found it. 4:15 a.m. While I'd been sleeping. Then I saw it, a new story post, added 1 hour ago. My finger hovered over it. Part of me knew I shouldn't look, should just call the police, let them handle it. But I had to know. I tapped. The image loaded slowly. It was dark, grainy, like it was taken with an old phone camera. But I could make out shapes, a room, concrete walls, no windows, and in the corner, Madison, sitting with her knees pulled to her chest, still wearing that navy hoodie. Her face was turned away from the camera, but I could see that crescent moon tattoo. It was her. The story had text overlaid, "She wanted followers, now she has one." Before I could screenshot it, the story vanished, deleted, like it had never existed. I called Detective Martinez immediately. Got transferred 3 times before reaching her voicemail. Left a rambling message about the Instagram story, the changed profile picture, the read receipts. I sounded insane even to myself. An hour later, she called back. "Mr. Rodriguez, this is Detective Martinez. You said you saw a new post on Madison's account?" Yes, I did. It was, "We've been monitoring her social media account since yesterday. There's been no activity." I pulled up Instagram again. Madison's profile picture was back to normal. Her smiling face from some beach trip last summer. No trace of the black square. No evidence of the story. But I saw it. I swear I saw it. Someone has access to her account. There, "Mr. Rodriguez." Her voice was patient but tired. "We've received hundreds of tips. People claiming they've seen her. Received messages. We're investigating everything. But I need you to understand. Sometimes, when we're worried about someone, our minds can play tricks." She didn't believe me. Why would she? I had no proof. No screenshot. Just my word against nothing. That night, I couldn't bring myself to turn off the lights. Kept checking and rechecking my locks. Every notification made me jump. I tried to distract myself. Watch something mindless on Netflix, but kept thinking about that grainy photo, that concrete room. The text, "Now she has one. One follower. The one viewer who stayed after every stream." The emails about her pajamas, her coffee, details no one should know. Someone had been watching Madison long before she vanished, studying her, learning her routine. At 11 p.m., out of habit or hope or stupidity. I opened YouTube, checked her channel, no new streams, but the comment section on her last video was still active. Thousands of messages, prayers, theories, demands for updates. I scrolled through them and froze. There was a comment from Madison's account, posted 10 minutes ago. "Thank you for watching. The show's not over." My laptop screen flickered. Just for a second, like a power surge when it stabilized. I was no longer on YouTube. I was on a different site, black background, no URL in the address bar, just a video player and a chat box. The video was live. That same concrete room from the Instagram story. Better quality now. I could see details. A metal door with no handle on the inside. A single bulb hanging from the ceiling. And Madison, still in the corner, but facing the camera now. She looked directly at me. Not at the camera, at me, like she could see through the screen. "Jamie," she whispered. The chat box showed one other viewer. Username, OneWatcher1. A message appeared. "Welcome to the private show." My fingers fumbled for the screen record button. Had to document this, had to have proof, but every keyboard shortcut failed. The mouse wouldn't respond. I couldn't even close the browser. The video filled my entire screen, trapping me. Madison stood up slowly. The navy hoodie was filthy now, stained with something dark. Her hair hung limp around her face, but her eyes were alert, aware. "I know you're watching," she said. Her voice was hoarse. "All of you, but especially you, Jamie." How did she know it was me? There was no username display, no way to identify viewers. Unless... "You sent me that DM," she continued. "Said you went to UT, said you wanted to help." A bitter laugh. "Nobody can help, don't you get it? This is what I wanted, what we all want. To be seen, to be watched, to matter." The chat box lit up. OneWatcher1 was typing. "Tell him the truth, Madison." She flinched at the message, wrapped her arms around herself. "The truth." She looked off camera at something I couldn't see. "The truth is, I made a deal. 3 months ago, my channel was dying. The algorithm buried me. Hundreds of hours of content and nobody cared. Do you know what that feels like? Screaming into the void? I wanted to type something, anything. But the chat box wouldn't accept my input. I could only watch. Then I got an email," Madison continued. "Not the creepy ones I told you about. A different one. Professional. Said they could guarantee viewership. Said they had a unique marketing approach. All I had to do was play along." She laughed again. No humor in it. "They sent me scripts. Told me what to say about the stalker. When to act scared. When to end streams. It was all planned, every detail. And it worked, didn't it? My last stream had 20,000 viewers. 20,000 people watching me disappear." OneWatcher1 typed, "Show him the rest." Madison's face crumpled. "Please. I did what you asked. I played the part. Just let me go, please. Show him, or I show everyone." She walked to the corner of the room. The camera followed her, panning smoothly. Not a stationary webcam then. Someone was operating it. Madison knelt down, pushed aside a pile of what looked like takeout containers, pulled out a notebook. "Insurance," she whispered, "in case things went wrong." She opened it. Pages covered in handwriting. Held them up to the camera one by one. I leaned closer, trying to read names, dates, instructions for each staged event, and at the bottom of every page, a signature I recognized. Madison Clark. "I agreed to it all," she said. "The fake emails, the pretend stalker, even this, the disappearance. It was supposed to last 48 hours, just long enough to go viral. Then I'd resurface with a story about escaping. Book deals, interviews, maybe even a documentary. She closed the notebook. But that was 5 days ago, and they won't let me leave. The camera zoomed in on her face, tears cutting tracks through the dirt on her cheeks. Because here's what they didn't tell me. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. The company I made the deal with, they don't exist. No office, no phone number, just emails and wire transfers, and the person running it all. One Watcher One. They're not interested in making me famous. She looked directly at the camera again. At me. They're interested in making me disappear permanently and showing every single person who watches it happen. The chat box exploded with messages from One Watcher One. Rapid fire. Too fast to read individual words. The screen started glitching. Pixels bleeding colors. That concrete room fracturing into digital fragments. Through the chaos, I heard Madison scream. Not acted, not scripted. Real terror. The video feed cut to black. Text appeared on the screen. White letters on black background. Thank you for participating in our beta test, Jamie Rodriguez. Your viewing data has been recorded. Your engagement metrics are exceptional. We'll be in touch regarding Phase 2. My laptop shut down, complete power loss. When I frantically pressed the power button, nothing. Dead, I grabbed my phone, called 911, tried to explain. A website, a live stream. Madison was alive, but trapped. The operator kept asking for an address, a URL, anything concrete. I had nothing. Sir, are you saying you witnessed a crime? Where did this occur? I don't know. It was online, but real. She's in danger. Madison Clark, the missing influencer, I saw her. We'll add your information to the case file, sir. A detective will contact you if they need additional details. They didn't believe me, just like before. But this time I couldn't blame them. It sounded impossible, felt impossible. Maybe I was losing my mind, maybe. My phone buzzed. New email, unknown sender. No subject line. I almost deleted it, but something made me open it. A single line of text, check your laptop camera. I looked at my dead laptop. The camera, the tiny LED that showed when it was active, it was on, glowing green in the dark screen. Another email. We've been watching you too, Jamie. Every stream, every late-night session. You're perfect for Phase 2. I covered the camera with my thumb. Ridiculous, paranoid, but my hands were shaking. Third email. This one had an attachment, a video file. 23 seconds long. I recognized my apartment immediately. My couch, my guitar in the corner. Filmed from where my laptop sits. Recent, too. I'd bought that plant on the coffee table just last week. The video was time-stamped. Tonight, 11:47 p.m. I looked at my phone. 11:47 p.m. In the video, my apartment door opened. A figure walked in. Tall, broad shoulders, navy hoodie. They walked directly to the camera, leaned in close. I couldn't see the face, hood pulled too low, but I heard the voice. Madison's voice, but wrong, distorted. Like multiple people speaking in unison, the show must go on. The video ended. I sat in perfect stillness, listening. Was someone in my apartment? Had they already been here? I grabbed a kitchen knife, checked every room, every closet, under the bed, behind the shower curtain. Nothing, nobody. Just me and my paranoia and that dead laptop with its glowing green eye. My phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Jamie, Madison's voice. Clear this time, terrified. I know you don't believe what you saw. I know it sounds crazy, but they're coming for you next. They want performers. People who understand the game, who can play the part. Don't let them. Cut off. Message ended. I called the number back, disconnected. I didn't sleep. Sat on my couch with every light on. Kitchen knife in one hand, phone in the other. Refreshing news sites, checking social media, waiting for something, some sign that this was real, or that it wasn't. At 3 a.m., a new email. Phase 2 begins at sunset tomorrow. Your audience awaits. Attached was a contract, professional, legal language, logo for a company called Digital Disappearances, Inc., terms and conditions. Payment schedule. Everything official except for one detail. The signature line at the bottom was already filled in. My name. In my handwriting. Dated 3 months ago, the same date Madison had signed hers. But I'd never seen this document before, never agreed to anything, never. My laptop screen flickered to life. Impossible. I hadn't touched the power button, but there it was, booting up, and when it loaded, a folder on my desktop I didn't recognize, your audition videos, inside dozens of files, all dated from the last 3 months, all showing me, in my apartment, reading, playing guitar, sleeping, living my life, unaware I was being filmed. Being evaluated, being cast. The final video was from tonight, me on the couch, knife in hand, eyes wide with fear. The perfect thumbnail for a horror stream. Title: The Viewer Who Became the Viewed. Upload status: Processing. Scheduled release: tomorrow, sunset. I ran to the bathroom, threw up, splashed water on my face. In the mirror, my reflection looked wrong. Hollow, like Madison had looked in that final stream, like I was already disappearing. When I came back to the living room, my laptop showed a YouTube channel I didn't recognize. Jamie Watches. Created 3 months ago, 0 videos. But one scheduled live stream. My turn to vanish, 24-hour disappearance challenge. 10,000 people waiting. The sun's coming up now. I can see it through my window. Painting the Austin skyline orange and pink. Beautiful. Normal. Like this is just another Friday morning. But I know better. I've tried everything. Can't delete the channel, can't cancel the stream, can't even leave my apartment. The door won't open. Handle turns, but nothing. Like the frame is sealed shut. My phone has no signal. Internet works, but only for specific sites, YouTube, the contract, and that black-screened website where Madison performed her final show. She's still there. I checked an hour ago, still in that concrete room. Still alive, still waiting. The chat shows 2 viewers now. Me and one watcher 1. Last message in the chat. Your room is ready. So, I'm doing the only thing I can think of. Recording this, writing it all down. Maybe someone will find it. Maybe someone will believe it. Maybe someone will stop watching before it's too late. Or maybe this is exactly what they want. Another story, another performance. Another viewer turned victim to feed the algorithm. The sun's almost up. My show starts at sunset. 12 hours to figure out how this ends. But I already know, don't I? The same way Madison's did. With 20,000 people watching me disappear, and one viewer who stays until the very end. If you're listening to this, if you made it this far, I need you to understand something. This isn't just a story, this is a warning. Check your laptop cameras. Check your view counts. Check those emails you've been ignoring. Because maybe, just maybe, you're already auditioning, and you don't even know it yet. Sweet dreams, night owls. The show's about to begin. Story number 2. The realtor called it character. That's what she said when I first toured the old Victorian on Maple Street. These older homes, they have character. You'll hear the pipes singing sometimes, especially at night. She laughed like it was nothing, like it was charming. I should have asked more questions. But here's the thing, and I need someone to tell me if I'm losing my mind. Because last night, I swear the pipes in my house played Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, not random clanking, not the usual groaning of old plumbing, an actual melody. And I think something's been listening to me practice piano. If you're still watching after I tell you what happened, please leave a comment. Tell me I'm not alone in this. Because right now, sitting in my car at 3 in the morning, afraid to go back inside my own home, I need to know someone else has experienced this. The story I'm about to tell you started 3 months ago, and I promise you, every word is true. The story begins now. 3 months ago, I was just another remote software developer looking for a quiet place to work. Seattle rent had finally broken me. 700 square feet for $2,400 a month. So when I found the listing for a 3-bedroom Victorian in Millbrook, Oregon, for less than my studio apartment, I didn't hesitate. Millbrook was one of those forgotten towns 40 minutes outside Portland, the kind where the main street still had a video rental store, somehow still in business. Population, 2,847. Perfect for someone who wanted to code in peace and maybe finally finish learning piano. The house sat on 2 acres at the end of Maple Street. Built in 1892, according to the listing. Original hardwood floors, updated kitchen, and that wraparound porch I'd always dreamed of. The photos showed sun-drenched rooms and vintage charm. What they didn't show was how the house seemed to lean in when you approached, like it was listening. "You're going to love the acoustics," the realtor, Janet, had said during the tour. She was one of those aggressively cheerful types who dotted her eyes with hearts. The previous owner was a music teacher. Had her piano right there in the front parlor. I'd brought my keyboard with me, one of those weighted key models that felt almost like a real piano. I'd been teaching myself for 2 years through YouTube videos and apps. Nothing fancy, just a hobby to balance out the endless hours of coding. "The pipes can be vocal," Janet continued as we walked through the master bedroom. "These old houses, you know, they settle, they breathe, but that's just character. And at this price point..." She was right about the price. Suspiciously right. But I was too excited about having an actual music room to care. The first week was perfect. I set up my office in the second bedroom, my keyboard in the parlor just where the previous owner had hers. The house creaked and groaned, sure, but in that comforting way old houses do. Like a grandmother settling into her favorite chair, I fell into a routine quickly. Code from 8 to 5, dinner at 6, piano practice from 7 to 8. The acoustics were incredible. Janet hadn't lied about that. My fumbling attempts at Chopin actually sounded musical. It was during the second week that I first noticed it. I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone when I heard it. A low hum from somewhere in the walls. Not unusual. The water heater was old, but this hum had a rhythm, a pattern. Dum, 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 dum. 4 beats, a pause. Then again, dum, 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 dum. I sat up, listening. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. In the walls, under the floor, above the ceiling. After a few minutes, it stopped. Old pipes, I told myself. Janet had warned me. The next night, it happened again. Same time, around 11:30, same rhythm. But this time, I recognized it. It was the bass line from the piece I'd been practicing. The simplified version of Bach's Prelude in C major that my piano app had been teaching me. Coincidence had to be. Pipes knock in patterns sometimes, right? Our brains just find meaning where there isn't any. But the third night changed everything. I'd been practicing a new piece. River Flows in You by Yaruma. One of those beautiful, melancholic pieces that sounds way harder than it actually is. I'd finally gotten through the first minute without mistakes, feeling pretty proud of myself. That night, at exactly 11:30, the pipes began their song. But it wasn't random knocking this time. It was the melody. Note for note, every hesitation I'd made, every slightly off timing, perfectly recreated in the groaning of old metal and water pressure. I stood in my bedroom, heart hammering, as my own imperfect performance played back to me through the bones of the house. When it finished, there was silence. Then, a single clear note. Middle C held for exactly 4 beats. Like it was waiting for me to continue. I didn't sleep that night, how could I? Every small sound made me jump. The refrigerator humming, the floorboards settling, normal house sounds that suddenly felt intentional. By morning, I'd almost convinced myself I'd imagined it. Stress from the move, too much caffeine, that had to be it. But I needed to know more about the previous owner. The Millbrook Library was exactly what you'd expect. A converted Victorian house with musty carpets and a librarian who looked like she'd been there since it opened. Her name tag read Gladys, and she lit up when I mentioned my address. "Oh, the Hartley House. You bought Eleanor's place. How wonderful. She would have loved knowing another musician moved in." "You knew her?" Gladys adjusted her glasses, a fond smile creasing her face. Everyone knew Eleanor. Taught piano to half the kids in town for, 40 years? Maybe more. Never married. Said the music was all the company she needed. She led me to a filing cabinet in the back room. We keep a local history section. Eleanor was quite prominent in town. Let me see. She pulled out a manila folder stuffed with newspaper clippings and photos. The woman in the pictures was younger than I'd expected. Maybe mid-60s when she died. Gray hair in a neat bun, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, always seated at a grand piano. When did she pass? Gladys's smile faltered slightly. About 6 months ago. Found her at the piano, actually. Doctor said it was a stroke, quick and painless. She was in the middle of a lesson plan for her Saturday student, little Tommy Morrison. Still had the pencil in her hand. I flipped through the clippings. Recital programs, award ceremonies. A feature in the local paper, Eleanor Hartley, Millbrook's maestro of Maple Street. She was particular about her students, Gladys continued. Had this saying, "The house remembers every note." Used to tell the children that the walls were listening, so they better practice properly. She chuckled. Scared a few of the younger ones, but it worked. Her students always wanted competitions. One photo caught my eye. Eleanor standing next to a student at the piano, her hand on the child's shoulder. But it was the background that made my breath catch. The wallpaper, the lamp. It was my parlor. Exactly as it looked now. Did she ever mention anything unusual about the house? Gladys tilted her head. Unusual? Well, she did have her quirks. Never let anyone do maintenance on the pipes, said they were tuned just right. Had to special order a plumber from Portland when she absolutely needed work done. Someone who understood musical architecture, she called it. Musical architecture? Oh, yes. Eleanor believed houses could be instruments. All those pipes running through walls, different metals, different sizes. Like a giant organ, she'd say. Claimed her father had designed the plumbing specifically to resonate at certain frequencies. But then, Eleanor always was a bit... Gladys made a small circling motion near her temple. Eccentric. Brilliant, but eccentric. I thanked Gladys and left with photocopies of several articles. But one line from an interview kept replaying in my mind. Eleanor had been asked about her teaching philosophy, and she'd said, "Music isn't just sound, it's conversation. And in the right space with the right listener, the conversation never has to end." That evening, I couldn't bring myself to practice piano. Instead, I sat in the parlor staring at the keyboard, waiting. At 11:29, I positioned myself in the center of the room. 11:30 came. The house remained silent. 11:31. Nothing. Maybe I really had imagined. Then I heard it. Faint at first. Not from the pipes this time, but from the heating vents. A whisper of air that shouldn't have been there. The system wasn't even on. It was playing scales. C major, perfect tempo. Each note held for exactly the right duration. Then D major, E major, working through the circle of fifths just like my piano app taught. When it reached B major, it stopped. Waited. The silence stretched between us like a held breath. I understood it was my turn. My hands shook as I placed them on the keyboard. C major scale. Up and down. My fingers fumbled on the F sharp like they always did. The moment I finished, the house responded. Not through the pipes or vents this time, but through the very walls themselves. A resonance that made the windows hum. C major scale. Perfect. But when it reached F sharp, it stumbled. Exactly like I had. Then it played the scale again. Slowly, each note ringing clear. When it reached F sharp, it held the note, waiting. I played the scale again. This time, I nailed the F sharp. The house seemed to sigh. A sound of satisfaction that raised every hair on my arms. Then, silence. I sat there for an hour, but nothing else came. When I finally went to bed, I found something on my pillow. A piece of sheet music. Old, yellowed at the edges. The title read, Duet for Student and Teacher in faded ink. At the bottom, in handwriting I recognized from the library photos, were the words, Practice makes permanent. E.H. The paper was covered in dust. The kind of dust that accumulates over months. My bedroom window had been locked from the inside. I should have left, packed everything that night and driven back to Seattle. Found another overpriced apartment. Gone back to normal life, but I didn't. Because here's the thing about fear. Sometimes it's indistinguishable from excitement, and I'd never played piano so well in my life. Every night at 11:30, the lessons continued. The house would play something. A scale, a chord progression, a piece of a melody, and I would respond. When I made mistakes, it would repeat the section, patiently, until I got it right. When I succeeded, the walls would hum with approval. I started looking forward to it. 11:30 became the highlight of my day. I'd catch myself checking the clock during afternoon meetings, counting down the hours. My playing improved dramatically. Pieces that had taken me weeks to learn, I now mastered in days. My fingers found keys they'd never been able to reach before. It was like having the world's most patient teacher. One who never tired, never judged, only corrected and encouraged. I even started talking to it, to her, because I'd begun thinking of the house as Eleanor. I'm not sure about this fingering, I'd say, struggling with a particularly tricky passage in Chopin's Waltz in a minor. And the pipes would demonstrate, somehow creating distinct notes despite being, pipes. They'd show me a better way to position my hand, which fingers to use. We developed a system. Single pipe knocks for yes, double for no. A descending scale meant try again. An ascending scale meant perfect. 2 weeks into our nightly lessons, something new happened. I was practicing a piece Eleanor had left me. Because, yes, I kept finding sheet music around the house, always in places I'd already looked, always pieces just slightly above my skill level, pushing me to improve. This one was a simple Bach invention, but I was struggling with the left hand. The pipes started playing along with me, not the melody, the harmony. We were playing a duet. It was beautiful. It was impossible. It was happening. Eleanor, I whispered when we finished. Is it really you? The house played 3 notes. Bad, bad? Was she saying this was bad? Then 3 more. Cabba. It took me a moment. B-A-D-C-A-B, she was spelling. Cab? You want me to call a cab? You want me to leave? 2 knocks, no. More notes, beated, 2 knocks. Then, slowly, she played. Before a dead. My blood ran cold. Before a dead? 1 knock, yes. Dead before a dead, what? The house fell silent. I waited, but no more notes came. When midnight passed with no response, I gave up and went to bed. I dreamed of Eleanor that night. She was sitting at the piano in my parlor, but the piano was made of pipes. Copper and steel and PVC all woven together into an impossible instrument. She played without touching the keys, the music flowing directly from her fingers into the metal. Every house has a heart, she said without looking at me. And every heart has a rhythm, but some rhythms. She turned then, and her eyes were hollow dark spaces. Some rhythms should never stop. I woke to the sound of hammering, not from inside the house, from below, beneath the basement. The previous owners had mentioned the basement was unfinished. Just a crawl space, really. I'd never bothered to look. The hammering continued. Rhythmic, insistent. 4 beats, pause, 4 beats, pause. I grabbed a flashlight and headed downstairs. The basement door was painted shut. Had been for years by the look of it, but the hammering was definitely coming from behind it. I found a screwdriver and worked at the paint seal, chipping away years of lazy maintenance. When the door finally opened, the smell hit me first. Not decay, exactly. More like old flowers. Dried roses and something else, something chemical. The beam of my flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing wooden steps descending into black. The hammering had stopped the moment I opened the door. I should have called someone. The police, a friend, anyone. Instead, I descended. The basement was larger than I'd expected. The ceiling was a maze of pipes. More than any house should need. They twisted and turned, connecting in impossible ways. And there, in the center of the room, was another piano. Not made of pipes this time. An actual piano. Ancient, its wood dark with age. On the bench sat a figure. I nearly screamed before I realized it wasn't moving, wasn't breathing. It was a mannequin. Dressed in a faded blue dress, gray wig, styled in a familiar bun. Its wooden fingers were positioned on the keys. Behind the piano, the wall was covered in photographs. All of the same woman at different ages. A young Eleanor at her first recital. Eleanor teaching. Eleanor growing older, grayer, but always at the piano. And in the center, a photograph I recognized. Eleanor with a young student. But now I could see what had been cropped out of the library's copy. There were 2 figures in the background. 2 more mannequins. One dressed as a man, one as a woman. Their faces were turned toward the piano, wooden heads tilted in eternal attention. Below the photograph was a handwritten note. Mother and father were my first audience. They remain my most devoted. Music requires sacrifice. The house remembers. The house continues. The house teaches. Practice makes permanent. Permanence makes perfect. The mannequin's head turned, slowly, the wooden neck creaking with the movement. Its painted eyes fixed on me. Then it began to play. I ran. Up the stairs, through the house, out the front door. I made it to my car before I realized I was still in my pajamas. Barefoot, keys left inside. But I couldn't go back. Not with that thing. Those things in the basement. I sat in my car until dawn, watching the house, waiting for, I don't know, for mannequins to come walking out, for Eleanor herself to appear in the window. Nothing happened. The house sat silent, ordinary in the morning light. When the sun was fully up, I forced myself to go back inside just to get my keys, my phone, my wallet. 5 minutes, I told myself, in and out. The basement door was closed, painted shut. Like I'd never opened it. I scraped at the paint with my fingernail, fresh, still tacky. My phone had 17 missed calls. All from the same number, no voicemail. I called back. "Gladys, from the library," I said when she answered. "You called? Oh, thank goodness. I've been trying to reach you. I found something else about the Hartley house. About Eleanor. Can you come by?" 20 minutes later, I was back in the library's musty back room. Gladys had a box of documents spread across the table. "I couldn't sleep last night," she began. "Something about our conversation bothered me. So I did some digging in our older archives." She pulled out a newspaper clipping from 1962. The headline read, "Tragedy on Maple Street. Music teacher's parents found dead." Eleanor's parents, Gladys explained. Officially ruled a gas leak. But look, she pointed to a paragraph near the bottom. Neighbors reported hearing piano music from the house for 3 days after the bodies were discovered. The police found no one else in the residence. Another clipping, 1978. Local piano teacher questioned in student's disappearance. Tommy Morrison, Gladys said quietly. He was never found. Eleanor was cleared. She had an alibi, but his parents said he'd been complaining about the house, said the walls watched him practice. More clippings, more stories. Students who excelled under Eleanor's tutelage but later reported nightmares about piano music. Parents who pulled their children from lessons after claiming the house felt wrong. A plumber who refused to return after insisting he heard voices in the pipes. And then there's this, Gladys said, sliding over a photocopy of a building permit from 1892, when the house was built. The permit was for custom plumbing work. The contractor's note read, "Client requests specific pipe sizing and placement for acoustic properties. Against code, but client insists. Claims pipes must sing in harmony with the spheres." The client's name, Cornelius Hartley. Eleanor's great-grandfather. A family of musicians, I murmured. A family of something, Gladys corrected. There's one more thing. She pulled out a handwritten journal. Eleanor's, by the look of it. This was donated last month by the estate. I hadn't cataloged it yet. She opened it to a marked page. Read this. The entry was dated 3 days before Eleanor's death. The student comes. I hear him practicing, though I've placed no ad, accepted no new pupils. He plays at night, always Beethoven, always imperfect. The house approves. It's been so long since the house approved. Father says it's time. Mother agrees. One more for the eternal recital. One more to keep the music alive. The tradition must continue. The house must never fall silent. I've left instructions. Sheet music in the expected places. The mannequins are prepared. When I join them, we'll need someone to maintain the rhythm. Someone who understands that practice makes permanent. He's young. He's eager. He's imperfect enough to need improvement, but talented enough to be worth preserving. The house has chosen. Tomorrow, I'll ensure he chooses the house. The next entry was different. Shaky handwriting, different ink. Stroke, can't move, can't speak, but I can still hear it. The music, getting louder. They're all playing now. Mother, father, all of them, waiting for me. But the new student hasn't come. The ad worked. Someone bought the house. But they haven't arrived. The music is fading. The house is growing cold. If someone reads this, if the new owner finds this, remember, the house needs music. Feed it sound, or it feeds on silence. And silence is hungry. The basement door will open when it's time. Don't fight it. Join us. It's beautiful, here in the walls, in the pipes, in the spaces between notes. Practice makes permanent. Permanence makes... The entry ended there. A long, wavering line of ink trailed off the page. She died at the piano, Gladys said softly. But this was in her bedroom, under her pillow. We sat in silence for a moment. You need to leave that house, Gladys finally said. I know. But even as I said it, I was thinking about the piano, about how well I'd been playing, about the duet we'd shared, about Eleanor, alone in that house for 40 years, teaching, playing, keeping something alive, or something keeping her alive. What will happen to it? I asked. The house, if no one plays? Gladys shrugged. It's just a house. But we both knew that wasn't true. I went back that evening, not to stay, just to collect my things. I'd already called a moving company, found a hotel in Portland. I'd be gone by tomorrow. The house was silent when I entered. No humming pipes, no breathing walls. Even the usual creaks and groans were absent. I packed methodically. Clothes, computer, books, everything except... The keyboard still sat in the parlor. My weighted keys, my connection to music. I could leave it, buy another. But I sat down at the bench, placed my fingers on the keys, played a simple C major scale. The house remained silent. "I'm sorry," I said to the empty room. "I can't stay. I can't be what you need." Still nothing. I played a piece then. The first one Eleanor had taught me through the pipes. A simple Bach prelude. My fingers moved perfectly, hitting every note with a precision I'd never had before coming here. When I finished, a single note answered. Middle C, held for 4 beats, then another, E, then G, A, C major chord, the happiest sound in music, but played so slowly it sounded like a dirge. "I'll miss you too," I whispered. I stood to leave and heard it. Faint. From the basement. Piano music. Not the pipes, not the walls. Actual piano music. The basement door was cracked open, just slightly. Just enough. I shouldn't have looked. Every horror movie, every survival instinct screamed at me to walk away, get in the car, drive. But the music, it was beautiful. Complex. A piece I'd never heard before. I descended the stairs. The mannequins were at the piano, all 3 of them, their wooden fingers moving across the keys with impossible grace. The 2 I'd assumed were Eleanor's parents flanked the one in the blue dress. A family reunion. An eternal recital. They played in perfect harmony. 3 parts of one magnificent whole. The music filled the basement, filled my bones, filled the spaces between my thoughts. The Eleanor mannequin turned its head toward me. The painted mouth didn't move, but I heard her voice anyway, not in my ears, in my chest, in the resonance of my ribs. Stay, learn, teach, continue. I can't. The house needs music. We need music. Without it, we fade. Without us, the music dies. A symbiosis, a necessity. You're dead. All of you. The mannequin that might have been her father turned. Its carved face was serene. Dead is a limited concept. We're preserved, like a recording, like sheet music, waiting to be played again. This is insane. This is permanence. The music grew louder, more complex. Harmonies I couldn't follow, rhythms that shouldn't exist. My hands ached to join in, to find my place in the eternal song. "Just one more lesson," Eleanor's voice whispered. "One more duet, then you can go." I knew it was a lie. Knew that one more would become 100 more, 1,000. But my feet moved anyway. Toward the piano, toward the bench. There was space beside Eleanor. Waiting, always waiting. I sat. My hands touched the keys. And we played. God help me, we played. And it was perfect. Every note, every phrase, every impossible harmony. 4 players, 1 song, eternal and ever-changing. I felt myself flowing into the music flowing into me. The boundaries between player and instrument blurring. "Yes," Eleanor whispered, "you understand. Music isn't something you do, it's something you become." I felt it happening, my fingers growing stiff, my joints locking into position, the wood of the bench fusing with my bones. "No?" I jerked back, stumbling off the bench. The spell, or whatever it was, shattered. The mannequins stopped playing, their heads turning in unison to watch me. "You'll be back," Eleanor said. "They always come back. The music calls, and musicians answer." I ran, up the stairs through the house to my car. This time, I had my keys. As I drove away, I could still hear it. The piano, the pipes, the house itself, singing its siren song. That was 6 hours ago. I'm in Portland now, sitting in a hotel room. Typing this on my laptop, but I can still hear it, faint, impossible. A piano playing in the distance. My fingers ache. They curl and flex, seeking keys that aren't there. Muscle memory of songs I've never learned. I know I shouldn't go back. I know the house is waiting, I know Eleanor is patient, but the music is calling, and musicians always answer. So please, if you've read this far, if you've heard this story, tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me houses can't trap souls. Tell me pianos can't play themselves. Tell me the music in my head will fade. Tell me I won't go back. Tell me the sheet music I just found in my laptop bag, the one that says final lesson in Eleanor's handwriting. Tell me it's not real. Tell me why I'm already looking up the drive time back to Millbrook. Tell me why my fingers won't stop moving. Tell me why the music won't stop. Please, before it's too late. Before I become permanent too. If you're still here, if you've listened to the end, then you understand. The story doesn't end. It just continues. Like music, like the pipes in the walls. And if you hear piano music late at night, if your house starts humming familiar melodies, if you find sheet music where none should be, don't practice, don't improve. Don't let the house learn your rhythm, because practice makes permanent. And some songs should never end. But if you'll excuse me, I have a lesson to attend. The house is calling, Eleanor is waiting, and the music is perfect.
Story number 3.
I'm recording this at 3:47 a.m. because I need someone to believe me. The fan above my head is spinning backwards right now, and I know what that means. Someone is going to die tonight. Wait, do you hear that? That subtle whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. If you're listening to this in bed right now, check your own ceiling fan. Is it spinning the right way? Are you sure? Because mine started doing this thing 3 months ago, and I've been documenting everything. Every single time it happens. And if you stick around until the end of this story, you'll understand why I'm terrified that it's spinning backwards as I speak. But before you think I'm crazy, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how certain objects in your house seem to know things before you do? Maybe your dog stares at empty corners. Maybe your clock stops at specific times. Or maybe, just maybe, your ceiling fan has been trying to warn you too. The story begins now. My name is David Chen, and I live in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Portland, Oregon. Nothing special about it, really. Beige walls, creaky hardwood floors, and a ceiling fan in every room that came with the place. The one in my bedroom is ancient, probably installed in the 90s. White blades yellowed with age, a pull chain that clinks against the light fixture when it spins. I never paid attention to it before March 15th. That morning started like any other. Coffee brewing, rain pattering against the windows. Typical Portland morning. I was getting ready for my job at the tech company downtown when I noticed it. The fan was on, spinning lazily. But something was wrong. It took me a full minute to realize what I was seeing. The fan was spinning counterclockwise. Now, I know what you're thinking. So what? Maybe you just never noticed which way it spun before. But here's the thing. I'm an engineer. I notice patterns, systems, and I specifically remembered adjusting that fan's direction last summer. Counterclockwise pushes air down in summer, clockwise pulls air up in winter. Basic physics. But it was March, still cold, and I hadn't touched that fan since October. I pulled the chain, stopping the blades, pulled it again. The fan resumed its normal clockwise rotation. Weird, but whatever. I chalked it up to old wiring and headed to work. The call came at 2:17 p.m. My mom's voice on the other end. Shaky. Broken. David, it's your Uncle Robert. He had a heart attack this morning. He's gone. Uncle Robert, my favorite uncle. The one who taught me to ride a bike, to throw a football. Gone at 52. The timestamp on his death certificate would later show 7:23 a.m., the exact time I noticed my ceiling fan spinning backwards. I didn't connect it at first. Why would I? Ceiling fans don't predict death. That's insane. But then it happened again. April 2nd, 5:45 a.m. I woke to use the bathroom, and there it was. That slow, deliberate, counterclockwise rotation. This time I stood there watching it, counting the rotations. 1, 2, 3. The chain wasn't moving. No breeze from the window. Just that steady backward spin. I actually filmed it, still have the video on my phone. You can hear my breathing getting faster as I realize it's really happening. Again. I called in sick to work. Couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was coming. Spent the whole day refreshing news sites, checking on friends and family. Nothing. Until 5:45 p.m., exactly 12 hours later, a notification on my phone. Breaking news. A massive pileup on I-5, 7 cars, 3 fatalities. The timestamp on the first 911 call, 5:45 p.m., that's when I started the journal. Every morning, check the fan. Document the time, the direction, the speed. Most days it spun normally, clockwise in winter mode. But sometimes, April 18th, 3:33 a.m., counterclockwise. My neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, found dead in her apartment that afternoon. They said she'd been gone since early morning. May 1st, 6:15 a.m., counterclockwise. A construction worker fell from scaffolding 6 blocks away. Time of death, 6:20 a.m., May 22nd, 4:44 a.m. This one hit different. The fan wasn't just spinning backwards, it was spinning fast, aggressive, almost angry. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. Something big was coming. The earthquake hit at 4:52 a.m. 5.8 magnitude. The first Portland had seen in decades. Buildings swayed, car alarms shrieked, and in the chaos, 11 people lost their lives. By now, I had 23 documented instances. 23 times my ceiling fan spun counterclockwise. 23 times someone died within hours, sometimes minutes. But here's what really messed with my head. The fan only spun backwards for deaths in Portland, in my neighborhood, in my orbit somehow. Like it had a range, a jurisdiction. I tried telling my girlfriend Sarah. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Babe, you're seeing patterns that aren't there. It's just confirmation bias. Grief making you paranoid. But I knew what I knew. So I did what any rational person would do. I disconnected the fan. For 2 weeks, nothing. No mysterious spinning, no deaths that I could connect to my apartment. I started to think maybe Sarah was right. Maybe I was losing it. Then June 10th happened. I woke at 2:15 a.m. to a sound I'll never forget. The slow, rhythmic whoosh, whoosh, whoosh of spinning fan blades. But that was impossible. The fan was disconnected. I'd removed the fuse myself, checked it twice. I flicked on the light and my blood went cold. The fan was spinning, counterclockwise, without power. I sat there frozen, watching those yellowed blades turn in the dim light. This wasn't faulty wiring. This wasn't coincidence. This was something else. The speed increased gradually, from lazy rotations to a steady spin, then faster. The pull chain started clinking frantically against the fixture. Faster still, the whole thing began to wobble. And then, it stopped. Dead stop. Like someone had grabbed the blades. The silence was deafening. Just me, my racing heartbeat, and the soft patter of rain outside. I didn't sleep the rest of the night, just sat there waiting, dreading. At 6 a.m., I turned on the news. Breaking overnight, Portland General Hospital. Massive fire in the East Wing. 17 confirmed dead. 17. The death toll kept climbing throughout the day. Final count, 23. I reconnected the fan that night. If it was going to spin anyway, at least I could pretend there was a logical explanation. Sarah left me 2 days later. Said I was scaring her, that I needed help. Maybe she was right. But I couldn't stop documenting, couldn't stop watching. And that's when I noticed the second pattern. The speed of the rotation, it correlated with the severity. Slow spin, 1 or 2 deaths, usually natural causes, heart attacks, strokes, medium spin, accidents, falls, car crashes, fast spin, multiple casualties, disasters. But there was more. The fan had started doing something new. Sometimes it would slow down, speed up, slow down again, like Morse code, like it was trying to communicate July 4th, Independence Day. I watched it all night. Slow, fast, fast, slow, 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 fast, over and over. The fireworks accident at Waterfront Park killed 8 people. But here's the thing. It could have been worse. So much worse. A food vendor noticed the faulty wiring just as the show was starting. Evacuated half the viewing area minutes before the explosion. Was the fan trying to warn me? Give me specifics? I started paying attention to everything. The number of rotations before it stopped. The duration of each spin cycle. The sound it made. And I discovered something that changed everything. The fan wasn't just predicting deaths, it was predicting preventable deaths. August 1st. I need to tell you about what happened in late July 1st, because that's when I discovered I wasn't alone in this. I joined an online forum for people experiencing unusual phenomena, desperate to find anyone else who might understand. Most of it was nonsense. Ghost sightings, UFO encounters. But then I found a thread titled Objects That Know Things. A woman in Detroit wrote about her grandmother's clock that stopped 3 minutes before deaths. A teenager in Houston documented his bathroom mirror fogging up in specific patterns before car accidents. And then, buried on page 17, a post that made my hands shake. My ceiling fan spins backwards before people die. Started in January, 28 confirmed incidents. Phoenix, Arizona. The username was AceWatcher99. I sent a private message immediately. Mine too, Portland, we need to talk. Response came within minutes. Thank God, I thought I was losing my mind. Can we video call? Her name was Maria, mid-30s, looked exhausted, the same hollow eyes I saw in my own mirror every morning. How long, I asked. 6 months, she whispered. It started with my sister. Car accident. The fan spun backwards at 7:15 a.m. She died at 7:18. We compared notes for hours. The patterns were nearly identical, counterclockwise for deaths. Speed indicating severity. But Maria had noticed something I'd missed. The duration, she said. Count how long it spins. Minutes equal miles. Miles? The radius. How far away the death will occur. 5-minute spin. 5-mile radius from your location. My journal confirmed it. Every documented incident fit the pattern. But Maria had worse news. There are more of us, she said. I found 12 others. Chicago, Seattle, Miami. It's spreading, David. Whatever this is, it's growing. She shared the private forum link. 13 members became 14 with me, all documenting the same phenomenon, all trying to understand. Some believed it was a gift, a calling to save lives. Others thought it was a curse, punishment for some unknown sin. But one user, Death Spinner 61 from New Orleans, had a different theory. The fans aren't warning us, they're harvesting. Each death feeds something, and we're the farmers. I dismissed it as paranoia until August 15th, 4:17 a.m. The fan started its backwards dance, but this time I was ready. I counted everything. 7 slow rotations. Pause, 3 fast, pause. 7 slow again. 737. I wrote it down. Racked my brain. What did it mean? Address? Time? Flight number? Then it hit me. Bus route 73. Stop number 7. I threw on clothes and ran. It was 4:45 a.m. when I reached the bus stop at SE Division. Empty, except for an elderly man with a walker. "Excuse me," I panted. "You waiting for the 73? He nodded. "Don't, please, just trust me. Take a different bus today." He looked at me like I was crazy. Which, fair, but something in my eyes must have convinced him. He hobbled away muttering about druggies and weirdos. The 73 arrived at 5:15 a.m. I watched it pull away without him. The call came through on the police scanner app I downloaded. Bus accident, Route 73. Brake failure on the Morrison Bridge. The bus had plowed through the barrier, plunged into the Willamette River. One survivor, the driver, who managed to escape through a window. The elderly man would have been trapped. His walker would have blocked his escape. That's when I understood. The fan wasn't just showing me death, it was giving me a chance to change it. But knowing brought a terrible weight. September through November became a blur of sleepless nights, desperate interventions, anonymous 911 calls. There's going to be a gas leak at 1247 Burnside. Check the scaffolding at the construction site on 5th and Morrison. The traffic light at Sandy and 82nd is malfunctioning. Sometimes they listened. Sometimes they didn't. Sometimes I was too late to decode the message. But I saved people. 12 confirmed saves over 3 months. 12 people who got to go home to their families because my ceiling fan spun backwards. I started to think of myself as some kind of hero, like I'd been chosen for this. Given a gift, I was wrong, because last night, December 18th, everything changed again. I woke at 3:33 a.m. to find the fan spinning, but not just counterclockwise. It was spinning in both directions at once. The blades were moving counterclockwise, but the shadow on the ceiling, the shadow was rotating clockwise. I sat up, rubbed my eyes, looked again. Still there. An impossible dual rotation. Real and shadow moving in opposition. And then I heard it. A whisper. So soft I almost missed it. "Choose." The fan slowed. In the silence, I could hear my heartbeat, my breathing, the rain, and something else. Footsteps. In my living room. I grabbed my phone, ready to call 911, and froze. On the screen was a text from an unknown number. "The fan has shown you 99 deaths. Tomorrow is 100. The pattern completes. The watcher becomes the watched." I looked back at the fan. It had stopped completely. But in the shadows on the ceiling, I could see them. Faces. All the people who had died. Uncle Robert, Mrs. Patterson, the construction worker, the earthquake victims. They swirled in the shadows cast by the motionless blades. And behind them all, something else. Something vast and patient and hungry. The text came again. "You can stop it, one final intervention. But the price?" I didn't need to read the rest. I understood. The fan had never been predicting deaths. It had been feeding on them. And I had been helping it. Every save, every intervention, had been prolonging the inevitable. Building to this moment. This choice. The faces in the shadows grew clearer. I could see their mouths moving, warning me, or beckoning. I couldn't tell. Another text. 6 a.m., Pioneer Courthouse Square. 317 people. Unless, I looked at the clock. 3:47 a.m. 2 hours and 13 minutes to decide. Save 317 strangers. Or save myself, because I finally understood what the fan had been trying to tell me all along. Every death it showed me, every tragedy it revealed, was building a debt, and all debts must be paid. The fan began to spin again, slowly, counterclockwise, counting down. I'm recording this now because I need someone to know, to understand. If you're listening to this after 6 a.m., then you know what choice I made. But here's what terrifies me most. As I speak these words, as that fan spins its deadly rotation above me, I can hear something else. Other fans, in other apartments, in other cities, all beginning to spin. Backwards. The pattern isn't ending, it's spreading. So, I'll ask you again. Check your ceiling fan. Right now, which way is it spinning? And if it's moving counterclockwise, you might want to start paying attention. Because once you see the pattern, once you know what it means, you become part of it. And the choice, that terrible choice, will eventually come for you too. The fan is speeding up now. I have to go, have to decide. 317 lives. Or mine. What would you choose? What will you choose when your turn comes? Because it will come. They're all spinning now. All of them. Backwards. Listen, before I go, share this story. Let others know. Maybe if enough people understand the pattern, maybe we can break it. Or maybe that's exactly what it wants. The shadows are moving again. I can see my Uncle Robert. He's trying to tell me something. The clock says 4:01 a.m. 1 hour, 59 minutes. The fan knows I've decided. It's slowing down, almost stopping. Like it's satisfied. God help me. God help us all. Recording ends. If you're still listening, if this story kept you awake, if you felt that chill run down your spine, then you felt what I felt. And now you know what I know. Check your fan, share this story, and whatever you do, don't ignore the signs, because somewhere out there, in Portland, in your city, in the room above your head, maybe, a ceiling fan is beginning its backwards dance, and someone, somewhere, is running out of time. Sweet dreams. Static, recording resumes. Wait, I'm still here. It's 6:47 a.m. I made my choice, but you need to hear what happened. What's still happening. At 5:45 a.m., I ran to Pioneer Courthouse Square. The place was already filling with early morning commuters. Food cart workers setting up, joggers passing through. 317 souls, just like the message said. I called 911. There's a bomb at Pioneer Square. Clear everyone out, please. They didn't believe me at first, but something in my voice, the desperation. They sent units. By 5:58 a.m., the square was being evacuated. People grumbling about their disrupted morning. Police searching, finding nothing. 6 a.m. came and went, no explosion, no disaster, nothing. The officers were not happy. Threats of arrest for false reporting, fines, prosecution, but I didn't care because everyone was safe, or so I thought. I got home at 7:15 a.m. to find my apartment door open. The lock wasn't broken. It was just open. Inside, every ceiling fan in the apartment was spinning, all counterclockwise, all at different speeds. A chaotic symphony of whirring blades. But the bedroom. God, the bedroom. The fan wasn't just spinning, it was glowing. A soft, pulsing red light emanating from the motor housing. And beneath it, drawn on my hardwood floor in what looked like ash, was a perfect circle. Inside the circle, photographs. Not my photographs. I'd never seen them before. But I recognized the faces. Every person I'd saved. The elderly man at the bus stop. A woman I'd warned about faulty wiring. A child whose mother I'd anonymously called about a recalled car seat. Dozens of faces, all arranged in a spiral pattern. And in the center, a note. Every save delays the inevitable. Every intervention feeds the hunger. You chose wrong. The fan suddenly stopped. All at once. The silence was deafening. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. David? A woman's voice, familiar, terrified. Maria? They're all dead, she sobbed. Everyone in the forum. I've been calling all morning. No one answers. Their families. They say they all died around 6 a.m. Different causes, heart attacks, accidents, but all at 6 a.m. 13 deaths. The exact number of forum members. Maria, where are you? Home, Phoenix. But David, my fan, it's doing something new. I could hear it through the phone. A grinding, scraping sound. It's turning upside down, she whispered. The whole fixture is rotating, inverting. Oh God, there's something inside it. The line went dead. I tried calling back, nothing. I sat in that circle of photographs for hours, trying to understand. The people I saved were still alive, but 13 others had died in their place. The fan had given me a choice, but not the one I thought. Save strangers, or save the other watchers. And I'd chosen wrong. As night fell, I noticed something else. The photographs were changing, aging. The saved faces growing older in real time, like time-lapse photography. Lives playing out in fast forward. The elderly man from the bus stop. His photo showed him aging rapidly. 60s, 70s, 80s, until the image crumbled to dust. One by one, they all aged, lived their extended lives in minutes, and dissolved. By midnight, only ash remained. That's when the whispers started. Not from the fan, from the walls, the floors, the air itself. Voices of the 13 watchers who died. You were supposed to let them go. The pattern must complete. Now we're trapped. The harvest continues. December 19th, 3 a.m. now. The fan hasn't spun backwards since that night. But it doesn't matter anymore, because I finally understand the real pattern. You see, I found Maria's final post, uploaded automatically from her scheduled queue. She'd figured it out before she died. The ceiling fans aren't predictors. They're collectors. And we weren't chosen to save lives. We were chosen to sort them. Every death the fan showed us was already marked, destined, unchangeable. But by intervening, by saving some, we didn't prevent death. We just redistributed it. For every life saved, another had to take its place. And the fans, they feed on the chaos, the disruption of fate, the moral weight of our choices. But here's the truly terrifying part. The pattern isn't random. It's spreading systematically, city by city, building by building. I've been tracking news reports, unusual death clusters, always preceded by reports of malfunctioning ceiling fans. Dallas, Vegas, Minneapolis. It's moving faster now. And the people saved, they don't stay saved. I've been watching the ones I intervened for, following their social media, checking obituaries. They're dying anyway. Different causes, different times, but always within 100 days of when they should have died. The fan just gave them extensions, borrowed time, and someone else paid the interest. The real question is why? What feeds on displaced death? What grows stronger from interrupted fate? I think I'm starting to see it. In the shadows, in the space between the fan blades. Something vast, patient, calculating. And we helped it map the city, identify the souls, catalog the deaths. We were never saving anyone. We were taking inventory. Sound of fan beginning to spin. Oh no, it's starting again. But this time it's different. The fan isn't spinning counterclockwise, it's spinning in a pattern. Stop, start, 3 rotations. Stop, start, 7 rotations. 3, 7, 3, 7, 3, 7, March 7th. That's 10 weeks from now. And every fan in the building just turned on. I can hear them through the walls, all spinning the same pattern. The harvest date, Recording becomes distorted. If you're listening to this, if you've made it this far, you need to know. Check the manufacture date on your ceiling fan. If it was made after 2020, if it has a small red dot on the motor housing, if it ever spins without power, get out, leave the city. Because March 7th, massive electrical surge sound. The power just went out, but the fans are still spinning. All of them. In every apartment, in perfect synchronization, and they're getting faster. The sound, it's not mechanical anymore. It's organic, like breathing, like something massive inhaling. I can see lights outside, not electrical, something else, rising from every building with the marked fans. Oh God, Maria was wrong. We weren't collectors. We were beacons. And something just noticed our signal. Final recording at 4:44 a.m. If anyone finds this, if anyone survives what's coming, know that we tried. We thought we were saving people. We thought we were heroes. But we were just teaching it how we die, how we fear, how we choose. And now it knows. Every fan in every city. Every watcher who thought they were special. We were all just marking targets. The whispers are getting louder. Not the dead watchers anymore. Something else, something that's been waiting. It's saying, thank you for the map. Don't trust the fans. Don't trust the patterns. Don't trust the choices. And whatever you do, don't try to save anyone, because that's how it finds you. That's how it learns you. That's how it harvests you. The fans are all stopping now. Perfect stillness. Perfect silence. Then, they're spinning upward. All of them. Lifting off their mounts. Rising. The ceiling is cracking. I can see the sky. But it's not our sky anymore. It's full of them. Millions of spinning blades. Blocking out the stars. This is David Chen, last watcher in Portland. Signing off. If you hear this, run, don't look up, don't count rotations. Just run. The harvest has begun. Recording ends in static. New voice, different, older. That was 3 months ago. David's recording was found in the ruins of what used to be Portland's Pearl District, along with similar recordings from Phoenix, Detroit, New Orleans. All 13 original watchers. Gone. But their message survived. Their warning spread. And now you've heard it too, which means you're part of the pattern now. Look up. Is your fan spinning, even just a little, even just a wobble? Because once you know what to look for, once you've heard the truth, you can't unknow it, and they'll find you, just like they found the others. The real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you share it, warn others, or will you stay silent, hoping it passes you by? Choose carefully, because either way, the fans are watching, and March 7th is coming. For all of us. A child's voice, barely a whisper. They're here. And share this story, not because I told you to, but because you felt that chill, that recognition, that terrible understanding that some things hidden in plain sight are better left unnoticed. But now that you've noticed, now that you know, you can't pretend otherwise. Check your fan, I dare you. Sweet dreams. Story number 4. The smell of burnt coffee hits me first. Strong, acrid, wrong, I don't drink coffee. My eyes snap open to unfamiliar ceiling tiles, water-stained and yellowing like old paper. The bed beneath me creaks with springs that sound decades past their prime. This isn't my apartment. This isn't anywhere I remember being, but I remember yesterday perfectly. Yesterday, I woke up in my Brooklyn studio at 7:23 a.m., made scrambled eggs, texted Mom about dinner plans for next week, took the subway to work, had that weird conversation with Marcus about his cat's surgery, came home, Watched 3 episodes of that true crime series everyone's talking about. Went to bed at 11:47 p.m. Every single detail. Today, nothing. How did I get here? Where even is here? Subscribe if you want to know what happens when your mind becomes your worst enemy. Drop a comment if you've ever woken up somewhere you don't remember going. Because what I'm about to tell you, it's still happening. And I think I know why you clicked on this video. The story begins now. My hands shake as I push myself up from the lumpy mattress. The room smells like mildew and something else. Something sweet and chemical, like air freshener trying too hard to mask decay. A neon sign flickers outside the window, casting intermittent pink light across peeling wallpaper. Riverside Motel. The sign reads backwards through the glass. I've never heard of it. There's a duffel bag on the floor. Navy blue, worn, not mine, but when I unzip it, my clothes are inside. My favorite Nirvana t-shirt, the jeans with the rip in the left knee, even my lucky socks, the ones with tiny tacos on them that Sarah bought me for my birthday. Sarah, my girlfriend. We've been together for... The thought slips away like water through cupped hands. I know she exists. I know she bought me these socks. But when? How long have we been together? What does she look like? Yesterday, she texted me at 2:17 p.m. Thai food tonight? I responded with a thumbs up emoji. That's all I remember about her. Just yesterday's text. My wallet sits on the nightstand next to a room key. Number 237. Inside the wallet, my driver's license. My face stares back at me, but the address, 1428 Sycamore Lane, Millbrook, Oregon. I've never lived in Oregon. I live in Brooklyn. I've always lived in Brooklyn, haven't I? The date on my phone makes my stomach drop. October 15th, 2024. Yesterday was October 14th. The tracks. But the location, Millbrook, Oregon. 2,847 miles from Brooklyn. How the hell did I get to Oregon overnight? I dial Sarah's number. It goes straight to voicemail, but her voice, I can't place it. It's familiar but distant, like hearing a song through walls. Hey, it's Sarah. Leave a message. Sarah, it's me. I'm in Oregon somehow. I don't remember how I got here. Call me back. Please. My voice sounds wrong. Older. Tired. The bathroom mirror confirms what my voice suggests. I look like myself, but weathered. There are lines around my eyes that weren't there yesterday. A scar on my chin I don't remember getting. My hair is longer, unkempt. This can't be overnight. This can't be... A knock at the door makes me jump. Housekeeping? No thanks. I'm good. Sir, you asked me to remind you about your appointment. Appointment? I crack the door open. A middle-aged woman in a faded uniform stands outside, her face kind but concerned. I did? She nods slowly. Every day, sir, you asked me to remind you about your 10 a.m. appointment. At the clinic. Every day? Her expression shifts. Pity. She's looking at me with pity. 3 weeks now, sir, same routine. You wake up confused, I remind you about the appointment. You go to the clinic, come back in the evening. Start over the next day. 3 weeks. No, that's impossible. Yesterday was yesterday. I remember yesterday. What clinic? My voice comes out as a whisper. She hands me a business card. Millbrook Memory Research Center, Dr. Patricia Vance. An address, walking distance apparently. The woman, Margaret, her name tag says. She watches me with those pitying eyes. You really don't remember, do you? It's worse today. Remember what? The accident, sir, why you're here. What happened to... She stops herself. Dr. Vance explains it better. You should go. It's 9:30. The walk to the clinic feels both endless and instant. Millbrook is small, painfully small. One main street, a diner, a gas station. A grocery store that looks like it hasn't been renovated since the 80s. Everyone I pass seems to know me. Nods, waves. "Morning, Tom. My name is Tom. Thomas Chen. But these people, strangers with familiar gestures. The clinic is a converted Victorian house painted hospital white. Too clean. Too bright against the gray Oregon sky. A receptionist I don't recognize greets me by name. "Good morning, Mr. Chen. Dr. Vance is expecting you." The waiting room has that distinct medical smell. Disinfectant and anxiety. A woman sits across from me, mid-30s, reading a magazine. She glances up and our eyes meet. Something flickers across her face. Recognition? Fear? She quickly looks away. "Mr. Chen?" A nurse calls me back. Dr. Vance's office is warm, too warm. She's younger than I expected, maybe early 40s, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Charts cover the walls, brain scans, timeline graphs, photos of me. Dozens of photos of me at different stages of something. "Tom, please sit. How are you feeling today?" I don't understand what's happening. Everyone says I've been here 3 weeks, but I only remember yesterday, October 14th, in Brooklyn. She nods, making notes. "What specifically do you remember about October 14th?" I tell her. Every detail. The burnt coffee smell in my apartment, even though I don't drink coffee. The subway delay, Marcus and his cat, the true crime show. She listens without interrupting. "Tom, I need you to listen carefully. October 14th was 11 months ago." "No. You were in an accident, October 15th, 2023, not 2024. You've lost the ability to form new long-term memories. Every day your mind resets to October 14th, the last day before." "Before what?" She pulls out a file, photos, a mangled car, Brooklyn Bridge in the background, 2 ambulances, a shape under a white sheet. "Sarah was with you." Was, past tense. "No, she texted me yesterday about Thai food." "That was the last text she ever sent you, Tom. You were heading to pick up dinner when the other driver ran the red light." The room spins. "This isn't real. This can't be real. Sarah is... Every morning, you wake up thinking it's October 15th, 2023. Your mind can't process anything beyond that last normal day. We've been working on treatment options, but what? Your case is unique. Most patients with anterograde amnesia can't form new memories but remember their past. You're the opposite. You can only hold on to the immediate past, yesterday. But everything before fades except that one anchor day. So, tomorrow I won't remember this conversation? No. Tomorrow you'll wake up thinking it's October 15th again. You'll remember October 14th perfectly. Nothing else." A journal sits on her desk. My handwriting fills the pages. Entries dated for months I don't remember living. Day 10, accepted. Sarah is gone, cried for hours. Day 45, starting to forget her face. Day 98, can't remember her last name. Only the Thai food text. Day 216. Who is Sarah? I write these every day. It's your way of trying to communicate with yourself, but your mind won't hold on to it. I flip through pages. The handwriting gets shakier, more desperate. Recent entries are just fragments. Day 289. Yesterday, day 301. The man in the mirror isn't me. Day 315. Someone is lying, but I don't know who. There's something else, Tom. Dr. Vance's voice drops. Lately, you've been experiencing things, seeing things. Your mind is trying to fill the gaps, creating false memories. That's why we moved you here, somewhere quiet. Somewhere safe. Safe from what? From yourself, Tom. In Brooklyn, you kept going to places. Sarah's apartment, your old office, people you didn't recognize anymore. It was becoming dangerous. The woman from the waiting room appears in the doorway. She's been crying. "I'm sorry," she says to Dr. Vance. "I know I'm not supposed to, but I heard he was having a bad day." "Tom," Dr. Vance says gently, "this is your sister, Lisa." Sister, I study her face. Nothing. She's a stranger wearing my eyes. Hey, Tommy. Her voice breaks. It's okay. I know you don't. It's okay. She leaves something on the desk. A photo. 3 people at a beach, me, her, and an older couple. Mom and Dad, she whispers. They wanted to come, but it's too hard for them. Watching you forget them every day. Parents, I have parents. Somewhere there are people who raised me, loved me, and I can't. I think that's enough for today, Dr. Vance says. Tom, you'll be back tomorrow. You won't remember, but you'll be back. We're trying to help. The walk back to the motel is different. The faces aren't strangers anymore. They're ghosts. People who know me in a life I can't access. The diner waitress who calls me Hun has apparently served me the same breakfast for 3 weeks. The mail carrier waves at a man he's seen every day who sees him for the first time. In my motel room, I find them. Journals, dozens of them, hidden under the bed in drawers, behind the dresser. All my handwriting. All desperate attempts to break through. Don't trust the doctor, Sarah isn't dead. Check the news, October 14th never happened. The accident was October 3rd, not 15th. You are not Thomas Chen. That last one makes me stop. It's written in red ink, circled multiple times. Below it, a driver's license, different state, different name. Same face, Daniel Morrison. Address in Phoenix, more documents. Medical records for Daniel Morrison. Patient at Millbrook Memory Research Center. Voluntary admission for experimental treatment. Signature dated September 2023, before the accident. Before October 14th. My phone rings. Unknown number. Tom, it's Marcus from work. Listen, I know this is weird, but you called me yesterday asking about my cat. Dude, I don't have a cat. I'm allergic. Are you okay? The scrambled eggs yesterday morning. I'm allergic to eggs. Have been since childhood. The Nirvana shirt. I hate Nirvana. Sarah always teased me about... No, Sarah didn't tease me. I don't know, Sarah, do I? Another journal entry. The memories are implanted. October 14th is a construct. You volunteered for this. Remember why. A knock at the door, not housekeeping this time. Mr. Morrison? This is Dr. Vance. I know you're confused. May I come in? I open the door. She's not alone. 2 orderlies stand behind her. You found the journals, she says, noticing the scattered notebooks. That's happening earlier each cycle. Your mind is rejecting the framework. What framework? What did you do to me? What you asked us to do, Daniel. You came to us with severe PTSD, survivor's guilt. The accident. You were driving. October 3rd, not 14th. Your wife? Rebecca, not Sarah. She died. You couldn't live with the memories. You volunteered for our experimental treatment, memory suppression and replacement. So, October 14th is a composite, a perfect day created from fragments of your happiest memories, designed to be your anchor while we suppressed the trauma. But your mind is too strong. It keeps trying to break through. The other entries, saying not to trust you. Also you. The part of you that wants to remember, fighting the part that wants to forget. But Daniel, the treatment is failing. Each day, the false memories degrade more. Soon, you won't have October 14th either. Just nothing. She holds out a pill bottle. These will help stabilize the remaining memories. Give us more time to find a solution. I take the bottle. The label is worn like it's been handled daily for months. By me. By hands that don't remember holding it. What happens if I don't take them? We don't know. No one's ever gotten this far into degradation. You might remember everything. You might remember nothing. You might create new false memories to fill the void. Or your mind might not survive the collapse. Through the window, the neon sign flickers, but now it doesn't say Riverside Motel. It says Memorial Hospital. The walls shift, wallpaper becoming white tile. The bed transforms into a hospital gurney. It's happening again, Dr. Vance says urgently. Daniel, take the pills, now. But which reality is the false one? The motel or the hospital? Dr. Vance or the nurse she's becoming? Daniel Morrison or Thomas Chen or someone else entirely? I dry swallow 2 pills. The world stabilizes. Motel room. Dusty and dim. Good, Dr. Vance says. I'll see you tomorrow. Will you, or will someone else be wearing your face? She doesn't answer. Night falls. I don't sleep, can't sleep. The journals spread across the bed tell 100 different stories. Each one claims to be the truth. You killed Sarah in the accident. Sarah killed you in the accident. There was no accident. The accident hasn't happened yet. You're trying to prevent the accident. You caused the accident on purpose. Sarah never existed. You are Sarah. That last one, written in handwriting that isn't quite mine, more feminine, careful. The mirror draws me back. My reflection wavers. Sometimes Tom, sometimes Daniel, sometimes someone else. The features shifting like water. 2:17 a.m. My phone buzzes. Text message. Thai food tonight? From Sarah. Sent now, not yesterday. I call the number. It rings. Someone picks up but doesn't speak. Sarah, breathing, then, you're not supposed to remember this number. Who are you? Who do you need me to be? The voice is wrong. Mechanical. Sarah, Rebecca, Lisa, Dr. Vance. We can be anyone you need to remember. Or forget. What are you? We're the yesterday you're looking for, Mr. Morrison. The perfect day that never ends. Until it does. The line goes dead. Another journal hidden inside the Bible in the nightstand drawer. Older. Different handwriting. No, same hand, just steadier, more certain. Day 1 of treatment. I, Daniel Morrison, voluntarily submit to the Millbrook Memory Research Center Experimental Amnesia Induction Program. My wife, Rebecca, died in an accident I caused. I can't live with the memory. Dr. Vance believes she can help me forget. Not just suppress, truly forget. Build new memories to replace the old, become someone else. Someone who never hurt anyone. Someone who deserves to live. Day 15. The process is working. I wake up thinking I'm Tom Chen. Happy memories of a life I never lived. But I know they're false. That's the control. As long as I know they're false, I can choose when to stop. Day 42. Harder to remember why I'm here. Rebecca's face is fading. Good. That's good. Let her rest. Day 98. Who is Rebecca? Day 156. The memories are fighting each other. Tom's life, Daniel's life, others. Dr. Vance says it's normal. The mind trying to create coherence from chaos. Day 203. I think I've done this before. Not the treatment, this whole thing. How many times have I been Daniel becoming Tom? How many times have I been Tom discovering Daniel? Day 267. Dr. Vance isn't real. The clinic isn't real. Millbrook isn't real. I'm not in Oregon. I've never left the hospital in Brooklyn. Still in a coma from the accident. This is all dying brain trying to make sense of. The entry cuts off. The next page is torn out. All the remaining pages torn out. Footsteps in the hallway. Multiple sets. They stop at my door. Mr. Morrison, not Dr. Vance. Male voice, authoritative. This is Detective Walsh. We need to talk to you about what happened at the clinic. What? What happened at the clinic? Sir, if you could open the door. We know you're confused. We're here to help. I don't open the door. Through the peephole, uniforms. But wrong. The badges say Millbrook Police, but the uniform says NYPD. Daniel, open the door. Different voice. Familiar. It's me. It's Rebecca. My hand freezes on the lock. Rebecca is dead. I killed her, or she killed me, or we never existed, or... I know you're scared, she continues. I know nothing makes sense, but I'm here. I've always been here. waiting for you to remember the truth. Truth, as if there's only one. I open the door. She looks exactly like the photos. Rebecca Morrison, my wife, standing between two police officers in mismatched uniforms. Alive. Impossible. Real. Hello, Daniel. You're dead. No, honey, you are. The motel room tilts, becomes a hospital room, becomes a morgue, becomes the accident, she says gently. October 3rd, you didn't survive, Daniel. But your brain, it kept going, minutes, hours, creating memories, rewriting history, trying to find a world where you lived, where we both lived. The doctors said it was impossible, but you're still here, somewhere between alive and dead, creating yesterdays that never were, tomorrows that can't be. The clinic, the treatment, Tom Chen, all of it is your mind trying to process what happened. So, what's real? I'm here in the real hospital, holding your hand, waiting for you to let go. And if I don't, then you stay here, in yesterday, forever, creating new memories to forget the old ones, new lives to replace the one that ended. But Daniel, baby, it's been a year. You need to rest. The pills in my pocket rattle. Take them and forget again. Become Tom, become someone else. Start another yesterday, or what happens if I remember? Really remember? She takes my hand. Her touch is warm, real, the only real thing in this shifting world. Then you remember that the last thing you said to me was, I love you. That the last thing I said was, drive safe. That the accident wasn't your fault. The other driver had a heart attack. That you died trying to save me. That you did save me. The room solidifies. Not motel, not hospital, our apartment. October 3rd, 11:47 p.m. Getting ready for bed, planning tomorrow. The tomorrow that never came. I remember, and I do, everything. The real yesterday, the real accident, the real ending. So, what now? I ask. Now you choose, stay in the yesterdays you create, or come with me to whatever's after yesterday. The apartment fades, all the false memories fade, Tom Chen fades, Dr. Vance fades. Only Rebecca remains, only the choice remains. Yesterday or tomorrow, fiction or truth. Holding on or letting go. I take her hand. I can only remember yesterday, I tell her. Everything else is gone. I know, she says, but maybe that's okay. Maybe yesterday is enough. The last thing I see is the clock turning from 11:59 to, did I choose to forget, or did I choose to remember? Am I still in that motel room, taking pills, living another false yesterday? Or am I finally free? I can't tell you, because I can only remember yesterday. And yesterday is already gone. But you'll remember, won't you? You'll remember this story, share it, talk about it. Wonder which parts were real, which yesterday was true. And tomorrow, when you wake up, how will you know your yesterday was real? How do you know it is right now? Subscribe if you need to know what happens next. Comment if you've ever woken up unsure if your memories are your own. Because somewhere in some yesterday, Daniel Morrison is still trying to remember, or forget, or both. And maybe, just maybe, so are you.